actions while LAPD deals with these protesters. Ladies? There you go. You can see LAPD trying to take charge of the situation right now, trying to bring some of these protesters, into custody. Let's see some baton swinging down there. You can feel the frustration, but you got the LAPD officers. They're making their way over there right now. There's a little scuffles going on. There's a lot of scuffles going on. And again, this isn't one of those things. It's a lot of clouds making it difficult for us to see what's happening. But they still have to clear out a lot of that debris that these protesters put onto Century Boulevard. Again, you're watching it with me. You probably feel my frustration at home as much as I do up here, trying to see through some of these clouds. Some more LAX and LAPD officers, they're driving against traffic right now, rushing to get back up their other officers as that crowd is on the move now behind, as I would venture to say, that's going to be the Hilton right there. But again, this all happening here at LAX, right here at Century Boulevard. And again, the crowds have moved, but that doesn't mean the roadway is going to open up anytime soon. But you can see people down there. Take a look at that. That is Los Angeles at its finest. You can see these people just trying to move stuff out of the way. Drivers just going around what they can. There's another barricade that we saw earlier on that I wanted to show more of, but because the cloud just won't let it. Right at the LAX entrance, there's a bunch of those bins, those huge bins, those crash bins that you see out there filled with sand and debris, and they toppled those over. There you go. The cloud's clearing up. That's what they got going on in front of LAX. So they have to clear that out of the way as well. What you see right there, those are not protesters. Those are going to be LAPD. And again, they're standing watch here, trying to make sure that crowd doesn't make their way back to this location. We've seen that in the past. But now drivers, they're making their way down Century Boulevard, going to be met with that. Again, there are other ways in and out of LAX. Century Boulevard is what you need to avoid if this is your destination anytime soon this morning. Right. Me personally, I would just tell the Uber driver, get me as close as you can. I'll walk the last bit of distance if they have to drop me off somewhere here on Century Boulevard. A brisk walk before my flight might be exactly what you need. But the clouds cleared again just for a second or two, so you can really see what's going on down there. They tore all that out and threw that onto the roadway right there, and it's free Gaza. It's a Palestine protest, and you can see LAPD walking right now as cars are starting to make their way down Century Boulevard. Again, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to drive over that or push their way through that, but right now the roadway seems to be open, and as soon as that opening popped off there, you can see it. Drivers just going right through, catching a flight, very important. I get it. I understand it. LAPD, they did what they had to do out here. You can see that they have a lot of officers out here, and they moved very, very quickly, all things considered. A lot of times this would be a sit and wait type of situation, let those protesters kind of work their way out of this area. But when they started blocking flights and creating this kind of dilemma for so many people out there, LAPD got into action very quickly and cleared this scene out. Right now, though, don't know how many of these protesters are in custody, and I also am trying to figure out if they're still searching for some of these guys. You can see a group of them right there. They might be trying to double their way back, work their way back over to there you go. They're pulling down some trash bins. They're just trying to get things into the roadway to create problems for travelers and drivers today. Again, this is one of those situations we just watch and report. I just want to see everybody get what they need out of any kind of situation as it would be, but this kind of unruliness and just to get the point across, we're going to lose them underneath the clouds. But that's what LAPD is dealing with out here at the LAX area this morning. And again, the Century right now open at this moment, but how long it will be open, that's going to be the question for sure. Right. Where it's going to, and they don't have the and LAPD right now does not have the ability of their helicopter to let those tell the guys on the ground where that crowd is going. It does look like they're trying to double their way back or trying to take some side roads to get back into that LAX area. But as it stands right now, Century Boulevard does appear to be open. And we're actually right over the airport, so the closure is actually going to be underneath those clouds still. We are at the mercy of the winds, and as soon as those winds clear that out, we'll be able to see a little bit more. But you saw that crowd making their way on what I would believe would be 98th Street or 96th Street, making their way back over to Sepulveda Boulevard, trying to double their way back as it would be. A number of them are in custody, but the ones that were not taken into custody seem like they're hell-bent for, still bent on creating some more chaos out here this morning and making their way back over to that Century Boulevard entrance there at LAX. And so we're going to keep an eye on it. I've got one ear on the scanner, but right now the situation not done by any means, but Century Boulevard seems to be open as far as the entranceway into the LAX area. That seems to be still blocked just because of the debris that they left behind. We're the only ones that can see anything. There's not even an airship down there, is there? It's Free Palestine. And I saw that at the last second. They got spray paint down there on the road. They spray painted profanities. It's like it has nothing to do with it. That's it. This is like they're just rebel rousers. I would even venture to say they don't even know what they're protesting. They're just just pro-violence. They're going to intercept them. I think they're too late. No, they're right there. Here, it's going to be through the clouds again, but they got LAPD coming up on them again. Pardon me? Oh, I'm live on YouTube. Okay, copy. Thank you. They're gonna make their way into the car park. Or they're not? What are they doing? Copy. Hopefully we'll have it. Here come the clouds. Stand by. They already have. Copy. So I told everybody to go. Are we? Oh, well, it's going to be tight for a little bit until this cloud moves again. Copy. I'm going to put the map up if that's okay, just because of the clouds, like something like that. And there's, because the last spot they were Vicksburg and 92nd or 96. My guess is they're going to make their way back over to Sepulveda. And I think it's getting thicker. Copy all. Who's flying it today? You notice how there's no traffic coming southbound on Sepulveda? there. I brought up the map so you can see some of the roadways down there. The last known location, they were back on 98th and Vicksburg, which is going to be right somewhere underneath that cloud. Now, Sepulveda Boulevard, I've been keeping an eye on that because that's been an alternative for so many folks to make their way in and out of LAX this morning. It's staying away from Century. That cloud really blocking our view, but you can see right now traffic starting to move east and north and southbound on Sepulveda Boulevard again every now and then. I wish we had more to show you right now. We're going to have to move Skyfox maybe out more to the east to take a look and see what we can do. But as it stands, we can't see much because of all these clouds out here. That's basically the shot right there. We're going to move Skyfox just a little bit. Maybe we can see some of that debris. There's that debris that was actually blocking the front of LAX. That's going to be right at Century Boulevard. Now that's the debris they're still trying to work to clear up. Now that protest group made their way about a block or so out to the east and then was apprehended, or that's where LAPD made their first move. They did take a group into custody, but a bunch of them made their way onto the streets out here. 98th and Vicksburg was the last location that we heard them running through a parking lot out there. Again, very difficult to see this morning because of all that cloud layer. LAX, they keep us very high up to keep the aircraft traffic safe down there. Mike at the controls this morning at the tiller moving us around the best we can. So now we're starting to see a little bit more of that roadway. We're going to see if we can find where that group was. Right there you can see some of that LAPD. We did hear that they are on tactical alert, as Gigi mentioned. They have a lot of officers making their way over here, and they're all going to be ground-based, meaning they're all going to be on foot making their way down there. They're trying to take that last group into custody. LAPD, you can see them on the move, and they have their doors open, keeping an eye on where they might be. The last location I heard was possibly that car park that we see right there. So we're going to keep an eye out, see what we can do. But as far as traffic for LAX this morning, it's going to be very difficult. The main entrance off of Century still closed. LAX PD suggesting you take anything but, meaning Sepulveda Boulevard is probably going to be your best bet. You can make your way over to Sepulveda, Arvida, and then Airport Way. Sorry, go ahead. Yes, sir. Near an orange fence. Okay. Yep. I'm trying to, I can't, can you get across street? Yeah. Where? Like out here? Where?
Live at the airport. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, Gigi, thank you. As we go back up to Stu up in Skyfox. Stu, I don't know if you heard us earlier. We were talking about how also at JFK, travelers actually had to abandon their cars on the highway there after a pro-Palestinian protesters there blocked entrance to the airport. So it appears this is not only a problem or a situation near LAX, but also in New York at JFK Airport. They're dealing with a similar situation.
Well, I can't speak on anything that except for the stuff we've been watching out here. We understand that they are taking some of these protesters into custody. I'm eagerly trying to find this exact location. If we have a cross street, that would be the best, but apparently it is somewhere here in one of these parking lots. I do see a number of LAPD officers right here on 98th near Vicksburg Street. You can see a number of them there, and some of those cars coming from many other divisions, and that's what Gigi was talking about right there. The officers in their riot gear, and then apparently we had seen them making their way up and down this street. More officers right there, but as far as the group itself, I can't put eyes on exactly where they might be at this moment, but we do understand that they are taking some more of those protesters into custody as we speak. A number of them were taken into custody earlier on when we first arrived here on scene. That was going to be right here at this location. You can see some officers still there with some of those suspects, probably processing them and going to be taking them into custody. You can see them cuffed and standing there along that roadside. But as far as the main group, after that first scuffle with officers, they all made their way. They were on these streets right here, back by these parking lots. Right now, still trying to find out exactly where they are. But it does seem like LAPD came in very quickly and took control of the situation the best way they could, as fast as they could. But as far as the roadway itself, I'm not sure why they're not clearing out some of that debris right there. It would be pretty simple, as I would venture to say, just kind of pick that up or move that out of the way, and then they could allow people to make their way back into the LAX Airport through on Century Boulevard. But right now, Century Boulevard's still closed. LAX PD saying the best way to get in is going to be off of Sepulveda. Sepulveda Boulevard is definitely moving well in both directions.
So are they still blocking off traffic on both sides of Century Boulevard, or is it just because of the debris? It's not necessarily has to do with the demonstrators anymore, right?
Nope. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, Jen. The debris is the only thing that's left right there. It's going to be a pile of debris that's right there at the very entrance for LAX. I got to be very careful about pushing in too closely. There's a lot of graffiti down there and a lot of words that we can't put on television. So I'm trying to show you the debris without showing you that. That right there at Century and at Avion, they actually had debris there as well. But the people, just folks, got out and moved it all. You can see it kind of tossed off to the side of the road, both sides in that center divider. They did that themselves, and the roadway reopened. I'm going to take a look why Century Boulevard is still, LAPD is still have Century Boulevard shut down. We're going to see how far we can look through the fog there, but apparently LAPD shutting down Century Boulevard to keep traffic off of it while they're working to clear out those last of those protesters. You can see the traffic right there making their way from the 405. That's going to be Century Boulevard. Right now, pretty much wide open, but I believe that the reason why is because LAPD is still out here. You can see some of the parking police, but right now it is still a very active scene, and we're trying to find out where they're taking the last of those protesters into custody.
All right, thank you, Stu. Let's go over to Gigi now. She has some new information from the ground.
That's right. We're hearing that at least a dozen protesters are now in police custody. That's LAPD and airport police. This is traffic out of the airport continues to be backed up, and traffic into the airport is very slow, although people are getting in. Those protesters, some of them are going to be facing riot charges. They're also going to be facing assault on a peace officer charge. There was some type of either a scuffle at one point. The protesters were seen with padlocks. That's what one officer reported, putting padlocks in their pockets, taking padlocks out. There was concern that those padlocks would be used against police officers. Unclear if it has been. Again, this is a free Palestine protest. They've been carrying signs. One of them says, "Ceasefire is not enough. We want the land back. Free Palestine." This is what this is all about. And again, we are getting reports from New York that a similar situation is unfolding there. So this appears to have been a coordinated coast-to-coast effort on a day when there's a lot of folks trying to get in and out of the airport. So an update, a protest at LAX at one time blocked the airport. LAPD, LAX police out in full force. A tactical alert declared. At least a dozen protesters will now be processed. Again, many of them facing riot charges and attack on a peace officer. That's the latest from LAX. I'm Gigi Graciette. Back to you.
Situation obviously much. We're going to take a short break. We'll check in with Gigi and Stu shortly.
Yes, sir. That. So this isn't it? from the LAX entrance than where it all started earlier on. Let me see if I can spin it around, and hopefully the clouds are still not going to be covering it up. No, they are not. Now, they actually have crews down there that are starting to clear up some of that debris that's actually at the entranceway of LAX. I got to be careful the way I zoom in there because there is some graffiti group onto the roadway that we cannot show on television, but you can see crews are out there working to clear up the last of the debris that was out there. This is the area where they were pulling down palm fronds and throwing any kind of debris into the roadway to block the LAX entrance on Century Boulevard. LAPD moved in pretty quickly, and the protesters made a run, came over to this intersection here. They actually cleared that area out completely. They were processing some of those protesters that they took into custody at that location. Others kind of broke free, and they were trying to double their way back to create some more havoc, to not allow people to get into LAX. But LAPD chased them around, and you can see it right there. They basically have got almost all the roads open right now, and we understand those protesters in custody. I know Gigi's on the ground down there. She's probably got better information and more of a sight to see. Gigi? Pardon me? Is that somebody say that? No, we were doing it. Okay, copy all.
Tell shuttle drivers they've been stuck in all of this mess. Traffic is moving in and out of the airport, but much slower than expected, than needed, especially today on such a busy travel day. Now, what we've learned is this apparently is part of a concentrated effort across the country. Right now, police in New York City dealing with the same thing, but at JFK Airport, where people right now are getting out of their cars and carrying their own luggage into the airport so they don't miss their flights, because the entrance to the airport was completely blocked. Now, LAPD and airport police here responded very quickly. They didn't want to see what we're seeing here now, and they tried to resolve it as quickly as possible, but unfortunately it could not be resolved. As Stu was mentioning, protesters gathered palm fronds and appeared to want to light them on fire to continue to block the entrance. An illegal event was declared, giving protesters time to disperse. They didn't, and when police went in to arrest them, many of them took off running, but they have been caught. Again, about a dozen to 15 people in police custody, and some of those people are going to be facing riot charges and attacks on peace officers, because apparently there was some kind of scuffle. I don't know if it was a physical fight or the protesters threw something at officers, but they're going to be facing some very serious charges. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Gigi, thank you. Good to see things have calmed down a bit over there. So let's take a look at some of the other headlines. As Gigi was saying, millions of holiday travelers rushed to get out of town last week. This morning, the rush to get home begins. LAX, without this morning problem, it expected some 215,000 passengers today. That's why today was so disruptive. Very busy travel day. Even more tomorrow and Friday.